What's in a logo? That's a question that I want to take the time to answer over the next few weeks. Because in today's video, we are exploring this really old edition of the Hockey News magazine. This features a young Alexander Ovechkin with the old blue, orange, eagle Washington Capitals getup. And in the midst of this old Hockey News magazine are individual reports on every NHL team at the time. I say at the time because, of course, there are a number of teams that do not exist anymore that are featured in this magazine. There is a write-up for every team, every logo, and every arena, combined with stories on the players themselves that definitely provide some eye candy if that's what you're into. But let's talk about the Detroit Red Wings today and the history of Joe Louis Arena as well as the winged wheeled logo itself. When grain millionaire and shipping magnate James Norris Sr. bought the Detroit Falcons in 1932, they were given a nickname with lasting power. Norris was a member of the Montreal Athletic Association, a sporting club with cycling roots known by its emblem as the Winged Wheelers. They were the first winners of the Stanley Cup in 1893. Norris decided a version of their logo was perfect for the Motor City and renamed the team the Red Wings. The classic wind-wheeled logo has changed little ever since. Now, I apologize for the wind. It's quite a brisk afternoon here in Vancouver, British Columbia. But this logo, the Red Wings and their winged wheel, hasn't really changed much over the course of the past 100 years or so, give or take. 1932, so let's just say 94 years. The Red Wings have had some variation of this wheel and that wing for decades. And I think a lot of Red Wings fans would prefer to have it that way. Meanwhile, there is an entire write-up on Joe Louis Arena as well. The old Joe, as they like to say. Know your arena. The struggling Red Wings received little media attention when Joe Louis Arena opened in 1979, long before the days of Hockeytown. In fact, designers forgot to include a press box, which was added after the completion of the building, meaning the last row of seating in the north end was removed. But empty seats have been a rarity at Joe Louis Arena during the team's decade of dominance. The Wings' regular season sellout streak of 354 games, at the time, dated back to December 1996. The team's success in the mid-90s led to the rekindling of a long-standing fan tradition, the tossing of an octopus onto the ice during the playoffs. The $57 million arena is actually considered outdated because of its lack of lucrative mid-level suites. Now, I didn't know that personally, that the infrastructure and the capacity of mid-level suites was the reason Joe Louis Arena was considered outdated. But this is a reputation that carried itself into the next 10 years after this magazine was published by the Hockey News. The Red Wings only barely moved over to Little Caesars Arena just after Dylan Larkin made his debut. I mean, he played at the Joe. He started out in 2015-16, so that was about a decade ago. Little Caesars Arena came in shortly after that. So the Joe, big piece of hockey history here, of course. All the championships and all of the superstar legends that played in this arena. It goes hand in hand with this cool history lesson about the Red Wings logo itself and what James Norris Sr. ended up doing for the franchise after buying the Detroit Falcons in 1932. So much history with these older magazines, and we're going to take some time over the next few weeks here, maybe even months, admittedly, to talk about some of the other teams that are featured in this magazine. This is a really good one for anybody that wants to see some old hockey history talk, but ultimately, this is our little history lesson today on Detroit, their arena, their logo, and then there's also a little section here on knowing your team personnel. But I don't think we need to do that in this video. You can see why. This has been Ice Hockey POV, and I'll catch you in the next one.